Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa. Today is going to be a scrap buster video. Now, I'm sure everyone has scraps. I have a ton of them. But one of the ones that I have the most of are scraps that are about 1 inch wide. And I get a lot of these because I'll take 12 by 12 papers, cut them down to 8.5 by 11. So the 12 minus 11 is an inch. So I get a lot of 1 inch scraps from that. And I have a box of smaller scraps that are tall and skinny to make clusters or little dangles in front, but these are the longer ones and I have a ton of those. I ended up with so many and I have them all sorted. I did a video, and if you want to see it, I'll try to remember to link it below, but I did a video where I took everything and I sorted my scraps by type. So I got a little baby box of tiny little scraps. Of course, I wasn't planning on showing these tiny little scraps here. And I've got a box of more square, medium size. And then I've got a box of that are bigger scraps. And then I have one on the side that are bigger, that are more like bases, heavier ones. So I separated all these, and I'm like, so let's try to figure out what we can do with them as I'm running across them. Because I'd like to get these down to maybe one box, but I don't see that happening even with doing a scrap buster video. But so what I've come up with is an idea to make a pocket out of these. So here is the finished product of one I made already to see what it's like. So if you want to see how I did these, stay tuned and we will make some. All right, so I put my scraps to the side and I've gone through and I've started making some, and I'm going to show you how I got to these points. But what we're going to do to make these pockets is I'm going to take some of my heavier bases and cut out pieces that are 3 by 5. Now, if you've got index cards that are 3 by 5, that is fine. These are just kind of uglier ones. This was, I think, a Christmas paper. There's a Santa's hat in there. This has some gold foiling I'm not a fan of. This was, I mean, I probably could use that for something else, but I might not take that one. I kind of like that one now. But I'm covering up ugly pieces of paper that are thicker to make these pockets. All right, so then the next thing we're doing is we're taking some scraps, and I'm just randomly picking some that are straight. Now in my pile, I've got these that are straight that make good clusters, but they won't work for this. I want ones that are straight like that. So I have, just like I said, a ton of them in here. And we'll just start with this one. Now, a lot of these are the thin scrapbook papers. And what I've been doing is taking these and folding them in half and gluing them together to give them a little bit of strength. Now, I take my card and I make sure that if I fold it in half, it's at least bigger than this. Because we always want it a little bit bigger, because it's got to go from the bottom of the card and up past the top of the card. And we're just going to go ahead and roll our glue up and go ahead and glue this down. So I've just been, for a little bit of time here before I started the camera, just going through and gluing some together. Kind of mindless work. I mean, you could take any of these, and I know they're going to be long enough, and we're just going to put some glue on there, and should have pre-folded it. I've been pre-folding them. Makes it a little easier. And flatten it down. And let's take some shorter ones. Let's take one that's too short, and I'll show you what I did. So this would be too short to fold in half, because I fold it in half, it'll be shorter than the thing. So ones that are like this, if I thought it'd be kind of interesting to use, I'm just folding the top down to give it some strength, so that when it goes past the card, it'll be a little bit stronger up there, because we don't want it totally weak, sticking off the top of the card. So if you got something this smaller, and I notice this is ripped, so I probably won't use this one. I'm gonna put that back in the bin, use it for something else. Didn't realize it was ripped until or after. All right, this one these two would definitely be short. All right, so I think this goes this way, yeah. So again, we're just gonna fold down the top, and it ends up being will make it to be an interesting point. So that'd be an interesting little piece to put on a card or on a pocket. Throw some glue on the top and fold it over. So pretty easy to do. Keep one in the pile. Same with this one. This could be interesting. I think that goes that way, right? Go that way? No, the name's upside down. All right, so let's fold this. And we'll put some glue on there. All right, so I think we have enough to do the first one. Get that in there and go from here. All right, so we're going to take our first card and we are just going to glue some stuff on there. All right, so this one I have, let's start with that one. Oh, it's upside down. I'm like, why is it crooked? All right, so we're just going to take it. I'm going to take a sheet of paper here and put it down. There we go. We are just going to take and we're going to put the glue across the entire top to bottom of this, and we're going to put on here where we feel we would like it, how far to stick up, and having it go below is not a problem. We just want to know how far we want it to stick up. And that's probably the farthest one I want to put up. All right, so then the next one, now some of these are forward and backwards. They have different patterns. Like this one folded has like a bit of a floral pattern. This one is just straight. Now it was probably not cut straight to begin with. I'm going to go ahead and straighten that out. Probably should get my machine out to do this, but I'm just going to cut the white behind. And you can also, if you think there's a little bit of white showing because it's been folded, if you want to throw a little bit of inking on there, that's not the worst thing in the world. All right, so we're going to take the glue and put it on the next one. I did overlap these a little bit, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the first one. Whoops. And I'm going to lay this down. And we're going to vary the height of our little picket fences here. Okay, and we're just going to go from here. All right, we're going to put that one down a little bit lower. Now, the first one I didn't necessarily have a plan if I was going to make it, you know, go up and down, short, tall, however. But one way you could do it is kind of like I was going to try on this one. Start from tall, kind of go down, and then go back up, so it has a natural, like, thumb hole for it. The first one I did not have that. I started shorter, went up, down, varied. I could start where it's low and goes to the top. You could do it any way you want to. All right, so this next one's going to be another lowish one. I think I'm going to put that one. Now this one, I just realized I had folded, this was a shorter one, I'd folded the top up, so that's the stronger part. So I'm going to want to put that and do that like that. Okay, so we're just going to put some glue there. And put the next one, and I'm going to just have it, just put a little ink on that. Just have it sticking up just a scotch above the one before it. And let's put, all right, that would be fun. Let's put the next one. And again, checking, this one was one that's folded, so we want to make sure that heavier part's near the top. And this one is probably not the best one I could have done because it is shorter, and I don't want that part to go above the bottom. So we're gonna, there we go, trying to keep it straight-ish for that. And the last one needs to be a bit taller to kind of match that. So blue to finish it out. There's some blues in there. I think I could do blue to finish it out. All right. And it won't matter that this one's going past it because we can trim it down after the fact. So I'm going to leave that part on that side because I'm going to trim it down anyway. And we're going to have it go up above the pocket like that. Okay, now I'm going to get it unstuck from my glue page. And we have a pocket. I probably should try to wait for it to dry, but you know, who wants to do that? So we're just going to flip it over, and I'm going to, that's going to be the top, so I'm not going to cut that, but this is the bottom, and I want the bottom of the page straight. So we're going to go back to this, and we're going to cut this down. Now I probably could have used, like I said, one of my guillotine trimmers, make sure it's straight, but you can get a pretty good cut that way. Now we're going to make sure it's straight on the sides. This one ended up being a little bit sticking out, so we got that. And then this one, which was definitely sticking out, we'll do that. And there we go. It definitely ended up being a little bit crooked, but that's okay. It has a little fun whimsy to it. If you wanted to look straighter, you could probably add something to it. All right, so on this one, I also took and I just clipped the corners a little bit just to give it a little bit more of a, not a finished look, but less new. These are not sticking out too much, so there's not really much room to go in and trim these, but we're just gonna trim them ever so slightly just to knock it down a little bit. Now, if you wanted to before, oops, glue. If you wanted to before you put it down, you could take and, lost my slant cutter. I had it out, there we go. You could take a pre-cutter and you could trim your little pickets beforehand before you put it in, just to make it, just to add it like that, right? Or go back like I did and do it afterwards. All right, one last thing I'm gonna do after I ink this edge here is I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna just make sure that the between here is glued down. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of glue and just make sure those get connected. They're pretty well connected when you glue them. But it is hard to sometimes get right to the edge. Okay. All right, so there is that one. So let us try to figure out what we can put on here. All right, I got this fun little bird that he'd look good on here, and I think I'm going to put a little bit of washi tape on here. Now I did use this one on here, so I have it sitting out. So let's just pull this one out and put this on. It's got a little music on there, so it kind of looks like the bird could be singing. So I'm going to make it go so it looks like that's a little straighter. Yeah, straighten it out a little bit. That made it a little straighter. All right, now I just want to put a little bit of a background down on there. So I got some labels here. I think I like that one better. That one got cut. I wonder if I have a full one of that. Probably not. We're just going to go with it. Okay. So we're going to put this down and we'll put the bird there so it looks like it's kind of covered. That'll work. Move it over just a bit. And maybe a full another piece of washi down there. Maybe something in the red color, because I like this red that's in here. Let's do that. All right, this has a bit of red to it and a bit of map. There we go. Can't tell which way it goes. We're gonna go with that. Okay. All right, just put a little bit down there. Bottom it out. Give it a little base. And I'm just gonna wrap it around. It's getting glued down like a pocket, so I'm fine with that. Yeah, we're just gonna ink around this bird just a little bit. This was cut out of a book. All right, so if you're gonna go there, and you're gonna go about there. All right, so let's put that down. Right about there. And let's glue the bird. So with a few strips of paper and a couple pieces of ephemera, you can make a unique pocket. I think we're gonna need one more little bit of number there. One more little bit of number. Something long. There we go. So cute, right? Fun. So it, like I said, it will go into a journal. Let's see if I got my yellow one handy right here. All right. This could go in the yellow one, but I don't think I need any more pockets for it. So all you would have to do is find a page you want to put it in, glue it 3 sides, and then be able to stick something in the pocket. Cute, right? Fun. I like it. Okay, let's make some more. Yeah, those are nice. All right, let's put the glue on this together before we start the next one and go from there. All right, we'll need that, and we might need that. All right, so let's get another piece of paper. Just easier to have it low and glue on it. And let's just take one of the blue Santa ones. All right, so this one is kind of fun. I think I'm going to just do this one a little bit more randomly, and let's see if we can keep this one straight, shall we? Now, if I probably was gluing right onto here, I could probably figure out if it was running straight, but it should be easy enough to do this first one, you would think, because you're going alongside of that. Okay. All right, should we use the orange one that I pre-picketed? Now, you don't have to technically overlap it. I just thought it might give it a little bit of strength to do that in the end. And that's why I decided to do that. Okay. All right. How about some more words? All right, we're going to go down with that one because this one's pretty thin. Let's do that one. Now, depending on how fat and wide your pickets are, that depends on how many you end up putting in here. That's a big looper. All right, let's see. I'm trying to keep this one straight. Now, I did notice before I put it down, but there is a bit of white overhanging in. I probably would have trimmed that to make it fit, but I think I like that. I'm not sure why, but I do. I think it's just kind of, it looks kind of old-fashioned, a little gingham. So I think that'd be fun. All right, let's go back and put some more glue. But since I'm overlapping, I don't know if I finished that thought, I don't care that there's a little bit of white showing because it will. It will be fine in the end. Now I just had a thought here that if you wanted to make sure that side said straight, you could probably start from the two ends and work your way in. So the middle one was on the top versus how this is going where they keep overlapping each other. Almost not wide enough. All right, well, let's do this one. And again, there's two sides, so we can check to see which one we like. And I'm going to throw some just on here. And we are just going to overlap ever so slightly. Get rid of that ink. Ooh, I really got some ink going here, or ink. Purple, so I thought of ink and glue going, but luckily it rubs right off. I'm a little glue rubber if I need to, but at least I know there's enough glue in there. For sure. Okay, one last piece, and finish it off with a bit of music. I say, why not? Okay, we are going to finish it off with a bit of music. And this is looking a little bit white on the sides. I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to snip that because I figured it's not going to snip. Pretty straight. I won't be able to snip it because it'd be against there, so. Well, that's very neutral. Even though there's a bit of pink in there, that pink definitely looks a bit neutral. Oh, I like it. Okay, so let's go in and do its little cut. That's the top. This is the bottom. And believe it or not, these scraps are getting thrown away. All right. Now, if this was a fine enough size to not cut it down, I could keep it. This is about 5 1/4, so it actually might fit onto a page if I didn't want to trim that down. Like I said, I cut the cards to 5 just to make sure that it would fit onto a page. I mean, this would technically still fit on a page if I didn't want to cut it down. Since it is a bit, I like the music, but I think I'm just going to, for purposes of this demonstration, I am going to trim it down, and it's still big enough. Go through and nick the edges. Again, this is just not a mandatory thing, just a little extra. I just like it. I just think it finishes it off a little bit. Oop, I got to go through and. All right, so we're going to go through and glue the tops together. Just a little bit of glue to do that. And that one. Many of these get glued down fine. Okay. Okay, they are glued now. And just a little bit of inking. And ink the bottom. And there we go. We have another pocket. Fun. I think this one's going to deserve a flower, though. I like the colors with it. So I think we're going to go with a flower on this one. I just thought of that. I do have actually have this butterfly that I made with those. It's got some pink in there. Maybe I'll put that on there. I like that. Let's put that on there. I don't think I need much more than that. Maybe a little bit of washi tape underneath it. Maybe some pink washi tape. Yeah, this with the bows. This would be pretty. I kind of went from neutral to pink though, didn't I? But that's okay. It is what it is sometimes. All right, I'm gonna do it just partially. All right, so that's gonna go there. And I think I'll put one more little label or ticket there maybe. All right, I think I'm gonna put the ticket. We're just gonna soften the edges ever so slightly. And we'll glue these two down. Yeah, cute. Okay. All right. I don't know if this is, I'm going to use the art glitter glue because I need art glitter for that one. I think this is pretty light. It probably could have went with the regular stick glue, but sweet. I like that. Very nice. Oops. Okay. I like that. Yeah, pink and yellow really does go in that one, doesn't it? Very cute. I think we need just a tad bit more glue on this one. It's just right on the edge. And I think I had glued it, but I went to ink it and I think I pulled it off. So we're gonna make sure that is on there nice and good. Yeah, that's cute. So yeah, you just have something and then you just have a little pocket, tuck it in, and you got a little decoration there for the top. It's very cute. I like it. Very cute. All right. Well, I got one more base sitting here, so, and I got paper sitting here, so let's do it. All right. I picked a lot of the same colors, but let's see what we can do here with this. I got a lot of gloopers going on. So I'm not sure. I can't say that I saw this anywhere. If I did, I apologize. I'm not trying to totally take credit for it. I've said it before. There's so many new things in the world and things that have been done before that are not new, I should say. Let's see. This one's got letters on that side, and this, I'm going to go with the letters. And I think we're going to do this one. We're going to do, like I said, we're going to start from the two ends and work our way up. Let's pull that down a little. I didn't want it that far up. That was the other good thing about when you just fold them in half. These big ones fold in half. They're going to be way too big. You're not going to put it like that. But it gives you an opportunity to adjust if you want, to have, you know, something bigger, something smaller. So since I got that one out, I might as well just put that on this side. All right. And try my best to see the end of the card. Okay, both look pretty straight from the back. I think we're on a good start. I pulled a lot of yellows. I'm not sure. I guess I was thinking about the yellow journal I'm working on, but like I said, I don't think I really need any pockets for it. There's that. let's do that one. And I think I might see if I can pull a couple different, make a couple different tabs than I got here, these pickets. I do have this. Kind of squish out the glue to all the edges. All right, I think we're going to take this one. I like there's a little bit of pink red in there. Let's do this one. I think it's kind of fun to do it both ways. If you have a specific project in mind, pick colors for that and make pockets that will go with that, or just do a random, like I said, random little scrapbuster where you just I'm gonna go up and down, where you just pick random paper out and go from there. I think both ways would be fun. All right, so that one's going to go up a little bit and straight-ish. Okay, and last one. No, I don't like that one. Another green one? No. No, let's not do that. How about some blue? Yeah, let's do some blue. All right. But it truly couldn't be any easier to make. And again, these are thinner scrapbook papers, so if you had really thick stuff, you know, maybe some thicker Tim Holtz, or I think Stamperia is thicker, you could definitely just do a single layer. Well, I think I'm going to go up with this. Definitely random. Up, down, down, up. I was thinking about putting something there just to kind of bridge the two, but I don't want to block the flower. That would be kind of cute. Add that in there. A little variety, or maybe it's lower. Nah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. Okay, I'll peel it off for our paper here. And I think we succeeded in keeping it straight this time. So I do not mind the start from the ends and work toward the center method. All right, there's the top, so we want to cut off the bottom. And doing that, that also led to not having to cut these two sides off. I love it. All right, do a little bit of hair cutting here on the corners. Let's make sure that any of these are nice and locked in place. And a little bit there, and I think that should call this one done. Put a little inking on it. And I think this one should lead toward the flower, only because there is a flower there. And if you worry about those sides that are white, inking beforehand is probably not the worst thing to do. Just throwing a little on there now, it still works that way also. Yeah, okay. right, back to a floral. But I see out of the corner of my eye this ticket, which has a lot of these same colors of blue and pink in there. So we might cut that down a little bit too, but let's see if we can find a flower that'll go with that. Take my handy dandy Flora book. I love this thing. If I haven't said it before, I love this book. Well, that right there is beautiful. I love that color. Okay, let's go with that. I have been inking these beforehand just to make it a little easier than trying to ink after I take it off. All right. Beautiful. The link is below if you want to check that out. It is a great, great book. I've used it many, 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 many times. All right, let's cut this down a bit just to make it more reasonably sized too. All right, and the corners. Okay, that is a little bit more better. And age it up a little bit. Okay, now I like it. Let's do that. Okay, you are going to go up and down. And I'm going to throw a little bit of glue on you, even though you are a sticker. I always think when I'm putting a little bit of handling on it, taking away the glue, don't want to do that. Okay. I like it. And something right there like a number, because you can't go wrong with a number. Something square-ish. Something. Well, I like this one. It says first, third. And when I'm looking at this, it was a sports game. I think it was baseball. World Championship game. I can't really say for sure if it's baseball. But we're going to pretend it's baseball no matter what. And first and third is a baseball term. So we're going to go with that. First and third. Cute. I like it. Okay, well, I think I've completed my mission to bust a few scraps. Just a few. Because as usual, you have a thought in mind, you know, I can get rid of this whole box. Yeah, that never happens. But it definitely is a fun way to get rid of some scraps. I hope you agree with that. All right, let's take a close-up look of these and see what they came out to be. All right, so the last one, first and third with the baseball. Very fun. I like that. And this one I adore with the butterfly, the vintage tape. I think I forgot to mention these are from Seven Plaza in her Ko-fi account. And those tickets I made, very fun. And the Paris bird, I love it. The little washi tape on there. And then the one that I made off camera, that was a flower sticker from my floral book. That is leftover map from my last video, or the one before that. I think the one before that, where I did the small book pages. And another one of those tickets I made. Very cute. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, a thumbs up would be appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and want to see some more stuff like this, please hit that subscribe button. As usual, I want to thank everyone and appreciate all that show up. And as usual, I hope you all have a wonderful and creative day. Bye now.